Hello, everyone. My name is Jamaica, and I am coming to you with part one of my testimony of when God said it's time to leave your job. And so it's amazing how God could be speaking to you for months, days, years, and then when the time comes, it's like you get that Moses complex. You know, when God first told Moses, we're going, and Moses had every excuse in the world as to why he should not go, why he was unqualified, why God should choose someone else, and God just continued to say, no, I have chosen you. And so I'm coming here. I'm hoping that this will be a series of videos because I believe it will bless you. I know when I first started hearing God talking to me about my transition, I started, of course, praying. I was praying, I was fasting, I was seeking wise counsel from, those God has sent to me that are spiritual mothers and fathers in ministry. I also began just listening to YouTube videos, which can be a good thing and a bad thing because everybody, everything that's good ain't God, So I'm praying that this video will prick you. I'm praying that you will feel not only what I'm saying naturally, but also spiritually if you feel that God is calling you to make a transition on your job. So this is 2018. My last day of my employment was July 27, 2018, and it's now July 30th, 2018. So it's been, 3 days, and this is my first official day where I am no longer employed at my former employer. And it's amazing how when God has you doing something, it doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. And I'll keep going through the details, but just know point number one, if God is calling you to leave your job or to transition from something major in your life, it's not going to make logical sense. Meaning you're looking for a sequence of events, you're looking at a buildup, you're looking for, what happened last month to be the stepping stone to make sense with what happened last month. It doesn't make sense in God. His ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And so about 2 years ago, I remember going into prayer and feeling that there was more, feeling like that there was more that God wanted me to do with my time. I've been working in what's called affordable housing, which is affordable housing could be public housing. It could be like what's called Section 8, Housing Choice Voucher Program type of housing and different programs. I've been working in that sector for over 15 years. I came straight out of college and it was my first job just working in affordable housing complexes in real estate and property management. And so, working in something for 15 years, all of a sudden you can feel like this is what you were called to do. 15 years is not a small piece of time, but when you're doing it and you start knowing it, you know it like the back of your hand, it becomes ingrained in a part of you. You think that this is your life's journey. And so that's what I thought. I was comfortable in it. I excelled in it. I went from, being in the front office to working my way up to assistant positions, working my way up to management positions, and then finally making what I thought was my mark in my profession was making the role of executive director. And so I was there. I thought that this was it. I'm doing what God has ordained me to do. I'm in the marketplace. I'm impacting families. I'm content. I'm happy. My family's being blessed financially, etc. And so I did that. And again, 2 years ago, I was in prayer for a good period of time when I knew that there was more God was drawing out from me. And I know that there were prophetic words that were spoken over me and even things that God has spoken directly to me in regards to my purpose. And my purpose is connected with being an abolitionist of human trafficking and sex trafficking with women and children. And I had heard that call from about 7 years ago at a conference that was hosted by Bishop T.D. Jakes. I went to a conference down in Atlanta, and he had someone standing up there talking about sex trafficking and what was happening in the Atlanta area And I had no idea. I mean, it pricked me. I thought it was something that happened in the movies. I didn't know that it was a real issue. I didn't know children were being affected. I had no idea. And from that moment forward, I started studying. I am definitely a person that's pretty studious when I want to know something. I love information. I hate reading, but I love information and what it does. And so I began to study on it. I started watching videos, going to workshops and conferences, connecting with neighborhood organizations and even churches that were in alliance to ending sex trafficking and helping survivors, just to get an understanding as to why I was being so pricked. And so it hasn't left me. It's been 7 years, and my pastime. So when I'm home and, when on weekends, I'm at conferences, I'm at, workshops and trainings, I'm talking and joining alliances with those who are working against sex trafficking and in the process of helping survivors. And so it got to a point about 2 years ago where God told me he wanted me to spend some more time doing that. And I'm like, well, how can I do that? I have a full-time job, I have a family, so I'm doing the time that I have available to toward this mission. And he kind of got silent on me. If you ever have had a assignment or a call of God, you're gonna know that there's times where it appears he got silent. Let me say that. I just couldn't hear him. I got so just jumbled in my thoughts. I got so much going on. I'm moving quicker than him. Hello, somebody. And all of a sudden you feel like he's silent on you. And it's not really that he's silent on you. He's just waiting for that moment of pause where you'll stop just to listen. Go back. And when you're in those moments where it feels like God is silent on you, go back to the last thing that he said and just stay right there. But so that was 2 years ago. And so I made some declarations to God. I'm like, all right, I hear you. So I'm asking you, Lord, put me into full-time ministry. Allow, meaning I don't know what that looks like. I just know that I don't want my hours wasted. I know how pivotal that the time is right now, how crucial, I should say, the time is right now to do the work of the Lord, to walk in purpose, not just be saved, but to literally walk out my soul's salvation and his purpose for my life. And so I said, all right, go ahead and do it, God. And when you say something like that, in your mind, you think how he's going to do it. You think, he's going to give you some work from home options, or, you know what I mean, where you can kind of weigh your time and be more efficient in your time. You have a whole plan in your mind. That's what I did. I had a whole plan in my mind as to how God was going to make more time for me to do my purpose, but still keep me in my position. And God told me that he was going to remove me from my role as executive director. And I said, okay, I know the voice of God. I have relationship with God. I respect him and reverence him as God. So when he speaks, I don't take it lightly. So I said, okay, all right. So I know you got a plan. I know, however you plan it out is going to be where I'm going to transition from another job, from this job to the next job. And the next job just going to give me more time. I'm still going to work in real estate. I'm still going to work in housing because I've been in it for 15 years. So you're not going to change that up. I had this whole idea in my mind. So this is 2 years ago. So over the past 2 years, God had been speaking preparation to me. And I'm gonna wrap this video up. I don't want it to be too long because it's only part 1. But God had been speaking preparation to me. He told me, cut back on your bills. Start leaning things, stop being wasteful in your money, start putting some savings away. So I started doing those things, but I didn't do it as aggressively as I know I should have. But I did start making some changes in my lifestyle and cutting back, because I had gone from nothing in the beginning of my work, where I was making hardly anything and my bills were so high, to where I was now comfortable. I didn't have any struggles and concerning finances. And so now I'm cutting back on things that I just had gotten really frivolous about. And I'm like, all right, so you're preparing me for something, all right. And then all of a sudden, I started getting more and more ingrained in this purpose of ending sex trafficking and helping survivors. And in that, it dealt with spiritually and naturally, being there tangibly, opening a business that helps to support the building of housing and services and resources for survivors. All that came in the last 2 years. And so I'm seeing this progression. I'm seeing more need for time, and I'm wondering what's happening. And then all of a sudden on my job, God starts weaning me away. I felt the grace lifting. Has anybody ever felt like things you used to be able to do with your eyes closed, all of a sudden it's a struggle now? All of a sudden, I'm making mistakes. I'm not as focused as I used to be. All of a sudden, I'm not as connected, not as ingrained as I used to be. And you can see it. You can feel it. And I started feeling that, and I'm wondering what in the world is going on. I'm praying, binding Satan and everything for distracting me. I'm binding Satan for, distracting my focus. And God is like, hello, it's me. We're moving. And I'm like, where are we going? Silent. Silent. And so it came to a point in April of 2018 where I went to the library one day, and it was weird. The Lord had told me, I don't want you to go in today. I want you to stay home. And I said, why would you want me to stay home? And the Lord said, I want you to stay home. So I stayed home that day, and I just waited. I just hung around my house wondering why God had me to stay home. And he told me to go to the library. And so I went to the library, and I sat there at the library with my computer, and he said, today's our day that we write our resignation. What? What do you mean? So I sat at my computer, and I heard the Lord tell me, today we write our resignation. Where are we going? I didn't ask you all of that. No answer. I just told you to write the resignation. As I put my hand to the keyboard, my resignation was being drafted. And the Lord had me ask for some things in my resignation that I was perplexed by. I'm like, there's no way that they're going to do this because I'm resigning. I'm leaving. What are we asking for? How are we asking for such favor if we're leaving? And so I asked the Lord for a time frame, and the Lord knows me. Can I tell you this? The Lord knows what you need for you. Even though he could say, I want you to leave today, but he knows if it will break you and delay the work he has in you because you're not there yet in your faith. That's just so honest. That's just so blatantly honest. And so what I did was I asked the Lord, what's the time frame? And he said, give him 30 days. And I said, okay, 30 days notice. Who does that? What job actually keeps you for 30 days when they know that you're leaving? First thing, most jobs, they think you're going to slack off. You're going to be more of a hindrance than a growth in those 30 days. And so, no, I kept the letter, and God says, hand it in on a specific date. I was in distress. Can I tell you, I couldn't sleep. I knew I had printed this letter. I knew I had a date that I had to hand this letter in, but I didn't have any answers. Where am I going? What are we doing after this? I have to take care of a family. I'm about to be married. All these things are going in my head. This is not the right time. This can't be God. This doesn't make sense. Why would God have me leaving my job when I'm about to be married? This is a partnership. What's going on? And I asked the Lord to help me with it, and I talked to my husband about it, my husband currently, and I said, God, I know you're not a God of discord and unorder. So my husband's going to tell me this is the will of the Lord. And initially, I told him about it. He was like, I got to pray on that. Like I got to pray on that. And so I said, I'm not going to move until I know that my husband is in alignment with me, and because I know you wouldn't move like that. And so I waited, and one day my husband, he was my fiance at the time, my husband called me, and he told me, God told me to let you go ahead and go. And I was like, this is really you, God, because I know this man of God that I'm married to, and I know he does not play when it comes to hearing the voice of God. If God told him is to let me go, then it was you, God. And so I turned in the letter, like literally a couple of days before. I had printed the letter, but my husband had told me that it was a couple of days before I was scheduled to give it. And that's another thing. Just know, in something like this, he does work in the final hours. Don't be surprised if he tell you, 10 minutes before you got to hand that letter in. Go ahead and hand it in. He works in the final hours in these moments because your faith, this is all connected with your faith. Do you believe God? Do you trust him? And so I handed in my letter, and short of the long, they told me, think about it. We want to make sure that this is what you want to do. Come back to us in another 30 days. So I said, okay, Lord, they told me to come back to him. What do I do? He said, give him the 30 days. He said, my date has not changed. My mind has not changed. Give him the 30 days. So after the 30 days, I handed in the same exact letter. And they accepted it, and it was time to prepare to move. Still don't know, where are we going, Lord? What are we going to do? And so I'm going to stop right there, because I'm going to give you the part 2, because I'm still waiting on the part 2. Amen. I'm still waiting on the part 2, but this is where we are. I am literally availing myself day in, day out, every waking hour. The moment I wake up and open my eyes, I say, God, what would you have for me to do today? And so I'm going to hold the rest of it until my next video. So stay tuned, you guys. If you have any questions, please make comments at the bottom. Let me know. You can contact me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Our page is All Things Kingdom by Jermika, Jermika. Instagram, All Things Kingdom by JW. Hit us up and let us know, or you can comment right below. Take care.